1929 Auburn, owned by Charles Meyer. It's the 120 Big 8 model, dual side mounts, grill guard. It has a factory tachometer, stone guard, buell horns, powder trunk, wire wheels, and side mount mirrors. Charles Meyer's been coming to Iola since probably almost the beginning of the Iola car show. Is that right? His father was Chet Krause's dentist. So car guys obviously stick together. Wonderful car. His co-pilot is Mason Maynard. Doing some introductions here. So how long has this car been in your family, Charles?
2007.
Since 2007 in the family, and what kind of work have you done to it since then?
Kaufman Restorations did a complete motor restoration and chassis. All the mechanicals are done.
Great, perfect for going through a parade at Iola, and you bring this car to Auburn occasionally, correct?
It goes to Auburn every year.
Here's another treat, a very rare 1947 Hudson Super 6 convertible. It's owned by Peter and Kayla Kortenhorn of Whitelaw, Wisconsin. They are Hudson collectors. They have brought at least one other Hudson here to Iola. It's one of very few built. We don't have a specific number on it. So as you can see, it has white walls, beautiful cream. It's got obviously a radio. It's got the radio antenna here on the driver's side, which was an uncommon accessory back in the day. And just a wonderful joy to have it here. Can I ask how long you've had the car? How long have you had the car?
9 years.
9 years. Great. Did you have it restored?
I restored it about half myself and half I found out.
Is this the first time it's been at Iola? I don't recall seeing it in the blue ribbon.
Yes.
First time here at Iola. It's a wonderful car. Thank you very much for bringing it and your other Hudsons. So it's always a pleasure to see you. Your RT, owned by Tom and Chrissy Engren of Daggett, Michigan. They say everything except the ribs are original. It was autographed by Bo Duke, John Schneider. The 426 has 425 horsepower, original interior. Obviously very reminiscent of the General Lee. It clearly harkens back, but this is the real thing, heavy. I don't think you'll be able to hear me. It looks like an automatic behind the 425. How long have you had the car?
18 years.
18 years. So obviously you love it. A lot to love with the Hemi Charger. So what else do you like about it?
Oh, just like the way it rides and drives. It's a nice car.
Certainly beautiful looking. It's got dual fours, of course, on the Hemi this year. Original interior. And is this the original color?
Yes.
So it's a factory Hemi orange car. So this was the General Lee before there was a General Lee. This is what it was based on. Thank you very much for bringing it. Very cool car. Not sure what this is. Maybe the kids could tell me what this is. Oh, it says Wienermobile on the side. Esquire Wienermobile. This is Joe Coddington's favorite, and she doesn't pick favorite. She loves every car. I hope everybody had a chance to come visit the Wienermobile. They blow the Wiener whistle. Have a hot dog. Joe, are you going to sing the song for us?
They probably have it. Do you have that Wiener song?
Oh, I wish I were an Oldsmobile wiener.
We have a matching set of 5 Gypsy Red 1955 Chevrolets. Could you tell us your name, sir?
Kenna.
Thanks. And where did you bring these cars over from, Iola?
From Hickston, Wisconsin.
Hickston, Wisconsin. That's west of here, correct? Great. And all of these have undergone extensive restorations before they come here. So do you know anything about what this condition of this Nomad was before it was restored?
Well, the owner does, and he's the second to the last truck.
All right, we'll just have to wait for his answer. But wonderful car. You can see these over in the blue ribbon area by the tennis court. This Nomad's got obviously several accessories. The wire wheel covers, which are super rare in 55. It's got a visor. It has bumper guards. And of course, the Nomad was the top Chevy of the year. So this was the most expensive 1955 Chevrolet that you could get. So thank you very much for bringing it. Appreciate it. This 55 Chevy is a little bit hotter than the last one, it sounds like. Can you tell us a little bit about your 55 Bel Air convertible here?
This is owned by Daryl's store of Hudson, Wisconsin.
Great.
It's a 55 Chevy Bel Air. A lot of options in it.
Just looking around, I see he's got tissue dispenser, power windows,
There's definitely more after.
the viewer, traffic viewer, compass, a tronic guy which you usually saw in Cadillacs, spotlights. Oh, it has an automatic rain switch for the convertible top, so it's got a sensor on it that if it senses water, it automatically lifts the power top on here. Oh, and then this gentleman has his daughter with. So thank you very much for joining us at Iola. What a wonderful car. This one also is decked out on the outside with fender skirts, Continental kit, bumper guards. Great car. We've got a 1955 Chevrolet 3600 Wambach step side. This is also pretty decked out. It's got the visor. It's got a spotlight. It's got the hood ornament on it. Pretty car. This is also what Chevrolet called Gypsy Red. Great. And what engine's in this one?
I don't know if I'm wrong.
We have a lot of questions for the owner back there. we'll hit him up. Great. Well, thank you very much for bringing it. It's obviously a lot of work to bring all these 55 Chevys all the way from Hudson, the western end of the state. And they do this every year. They bring several matching Gypsy Red 55 Chevys all the way over from Hudson. We display them in the blue ribbon area on the west side of the building. Thank you very much. And here we have the owner to answer all of our questions. Can you tell us a little bit about this 55 Chevy, please?
Well, this is the latest in the family. It's only a week old.
Very nice. Did you buy it restored then?
It's 1 ton.
It's a 1-ton, just finished, 3,800. And what power is this one?
This is a 265 V8.
Great. So what do you think of your new purchase so far? This is a heavy-duty truck. The other one was a 1-ton. How many tons is this one? This is the 5400. It's got the 265 4-barrel, as the owner said, and you can see that it's got the V8 emblem on the side to let you know, because at this time Chevy 6s were still pretty robust, and they certainly could be used to haul it and for truck use. So this one's also decked out with the hood ornament, lots of accessories. A beautiful truck. Thank you very much for bringing it. Here are the 1953 Buick Skylark owned by Glenn Barnett of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. The Skylarks were made for Buick's 50th anniversary, and also that year, 1953, Chevrolet and General Motors had the General Motors Motorama, and they built special convertibles for that. Buick had the Skylark, Cadillac had the Eldorado, Oldsmobile had the Fiesta, Chevrolet had the Corvette. So this is a special edition that was not just for GM Motorama, but it was also Buick's 50th anniversary. So this is basically a dream car that you could buy. They're very rare. 1,690 were built. This is the very attractive blue, and as you can see, the wheel wells were painted white on these for a very nice contrast, and that was a Skylark only feature. Other Skylark features are the dipped doors that you see here. That was for Skylark only. It affected the doors. The windshield wraps around more than it does on the standard. And he's a 3-inch chop, the owner says, and the wire wheels were standard on these. Wonderful car. Thank you very much for bringing it. We love seeing it here. Here we have an authentic police car. This is a 1951 Ford Sedan V8 for chasing criminals. It's owned by Ed Bonnell of Wambach, Wisconsin. He says it was originally purchased at a sheriff's sale in Milwaukee during 1956. It was driven until 1976, then placed in a barn lean-to until he found it in 2010. Obviously restored it. So do you still chase people with it?
No, just my wife chases me out of the house.
Well, you have a fast escape then. Electric. By 1929, electrics were pretty much out of the picture, but Detroit hung on to about 1937 building electric cars. But this is just one of 3 built in 1929 by Detroit. When electric cars came on the scene in the early 1900s, they and steam cars actually dominated cars. The internal combustion engine was behind those and eventually gained favor as gasoline became more available. But doctors and women liked to drive Detroit electrics because they didn't require a hand crank. All electric, they had a charging station, they could just get in, much like today, turn the key, and be on their way. So no hand cranking, no getting sweaty before the ball, just hop in their car, go for a drive. It got tiller steering. It takes, owner David Lefebvre, how many batteries are in this? 14 6-volt deep cycle batteries to power this car. And you've owned this since the late 70s? 1978, bought out of Old Cars Weekly, an advertisement in there. Had it ever since. Wonderful car. Thank you very much for bringing it. It's got tiller steering, and it's probably the quietest car here. So interesting you would follow a Charger. It's his green car, he says. No emissions required. Thank you very much for bringing it here to Iola. Pleasure to have that.
We've got a 2018 reconstructed 5-ton, owned by Russell Krebs from Omro, Wisconsin. It's a fallen angel. This was created to honor our fallen Wisconsin troops who lost their lives in combat during the Persian Gulf conflicts. Our freedom continues because all gave some. These troops gave all. I must tell you, I've done the Cruise of Honor with the veterans the past 2 days, and this was absolutely their favorite. A lot of them have their pictures taken with it. I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing it to Iowa.
Here we have a 1969 Hearst Olds. These are special cars. A 455 or anything bigger than 400 cubic inches wasn't allowed in a GM Intermediate during this period. And Oldsmobile got around it starting in '68 by working with Hearst. And actually Oldsmobile, under the sly, was actually installing the 455, but they're just telling the brass that it was actually Hearst doing all the work. But these are wonderful cars, super fast, super cool looking. This was the top muscle car, and Oldsmobile was hot rockets. And tell us a little bit about your car, sir.
This is car number 840 out of 906.
Great, and it's got, of course, the automatic, Hearst shifter, of course. 455, how many horsepower?
380 horse.
380 horsepower. And how long have you had this car?
15 years.
And was it in this shape when you bought it?
Yeah, pretty much like this. It's a lot original on it, so.
Wonderful car. Thank you very much for bringing it. Enjoyed to see you, Hearst Olds.
I can't wait to I will.
Next up, we have a 1937 Willis Sedan. This would be, depending on what you look at in literature, a Model 37 for the year 37 or a Model 48 for the horsepower. It's got a 48 horsepower 4-cylinder. This engine would eventually power World War II Jeeps. In the meantime, Willys was trying to get itself out of bankruptcy and came up with this compact car to undercut Ford. So this car was probably around $500, and that was with some options back in 1937. And Mr. Pampered's owned this car for many, many years now, restored it. It was a barn find. It actually was given to him by his wife. 1959 Plymouth Sport Fury two-door hardtop owned by Johnny Zastro of Mosinee, Wisconsin. California car that he's owned for 20 years. He had one just like this back in the 60s. The car was brought to Minnesota by Mopar Mike Meyer, a famous Finn Mopar man, and that's where he purchased it. He calls it a fantastic ride. Can you tell us a little bit about the engine? 318 4-barrel. And the nice touch on these Furies is they've got a spare a full spare mounted on the rear deck, which is kind of a cool touch. And this was the top of the line two-door hardtop Plymouth in 1959, correct? Correct. Great. And how many miles are on it? 102,000 miles. And did you drive here to Iola, or did you trailer this one? Okay. Wonderful car. Do you happen to know the color? Never seen a trailer. Never seen. And drove down to Kansas City a couple of years ago. Wonderful car. Thank you very much for bringing it. It's always good to see a Finn Mopar.